Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. Today we have the pleasure of talking with IFBB Pro Men's Physique Division. Just placed second at the Charlett Pro, EDDIELUSKIII. So if you're interested in a long format interview and you want to listen to something fun and entertaining for your cardio or whatever, definitely stay tuned, subscribe, and like the video if you enjoy this style of content. But without further ado, here is Eddie Lusk. Honestly, it's never even my plan to talk about stuff like that. So I just want to get to know you. So as a fan, watching you at the Charlett Pro was really impressive. I didn't know too much about you before then. So it's always fun for me as a fan to have you guys on and get to know you a little bit more. Furthermore, as the media guy of this channel, it's fun to bring you on, the athlete, and then let the fans get to know you a little bit more besides just on stage. So that's kind of what I want to focus on today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's definitely awesome. I mean, they just see us on stage, but don't really know the us behind the right. Athlete, So doing something like that is really awesome, man. Yeah.
So Eddie Lusk, am I saying it right?
Yes, Eddie Lusk.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I actually started lifting weights when I was about 8 or 9 years old, believe it or not. And I'm 20, so just turned 27. My dad and my family and everybody were just really into working out. My dad has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Everybody played sports. Everyone was super athletic. And when I was 9 years old, my dad had just a standard weight bench in the garage with dumbbells and all that. And he used to take me in the garage with him and just let me kind of hit it with him. You know what I mean? And he taught me proper form, taught me how to do things the right way. And I just kind of fell in love with it at a very young age. And I remember he used to always say, he's like, man, never lift weights when I'm not around so you don't get hurt. And I vividly remember there were nights, when him and my mom were sleeping, I would sneak into the garage at 12 o'clock at night and just work out, quietly and hope they didn't hear the weights clanging or anything like that. So, and then I had an uncle, he was a non-competitive bodybuilder at the time. And he's still to this day, the biggest and strongest man I've ever seen. And he's the one that really instilled that grit and that intensity in me. We used to go to hardcore gyms, like those old throwback, dirty, grungy, throwing up, blood on the mirrors type of gyms. Wow. And that's just where I learned that intensity and that grit and just getting after it, pushing through that mental barrier, and to me, that was just that I craved that as a young man. You know what I mean? That expression of masculinity that I think is lost in today's day and age. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I remember just as a kid, I would sit in front of the computer. This is before YouTube. This is Google Video, and just watch bodybuilding videos at 9, 10, 11 years old, watching bodybuilding videos of Jay Cutler and Ronnie and all those. And, just came up through sports, college, and I kind of just fell into the lap of bodybuilding, believe it or not. And I turned pro really quickly. I got second in my first show ever in October of 2020. I came back around 7 or 8 months later. I won the overall at that show. That was the Titan Open in Milwaukee. Yep. And then I came back to another show 2 weeks later, won the overall in that, went to nationals 2 weeks later and got my pro card there. So I turned pro in 10 months.
Yeah.
It was a really snappy, quick process. And then that just kind of showed me hey, this is what I want to do. I love the process. It's a slow process, but I think I can make a living doing this, And going into my first pro show, my coach and I had really high expectations. We knew where my physique was. We knew where my physique was going. But, you still have those doubts and those butterflies inside. But, when I got on that stage and I made first call out, I was like, okay, pro debut first call out, I'll take that. And then I'm sure you saw shortly after they moved me to the middle.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you know what I mean? I'm looking around okay, I'm here, and then it's set up to where we thought that I was going to win the show. I ended up taking second to Ben Keel, but, I'm actually only the second rookie to ever the second rookie pro debut to ever place that high in a pro debut. The only one to do that before me was Aaron Banks.
Wow.
And I'm sure everybody knows who that is.
What a legacy to follow.
Yes, it was great. I wasn't too happy about it at the time. I was like, I want to but you know, I got back to the room. I was able to process, and the tears and the emotion, they came through as as expected. But I'm feeling really, really good going into this next show in 4 weeks and some change.
4 weeks, okay.
Yeah, it's the Palmetto Pro.
Palmetto, okay.
The Palmetto Pro in Columbia, South Carolina. We've got that in about 5 weeks, and then the next weekend we're actually going to do the Miami Pro, and that's a little bit of a bigger show.
Okay.
So coming up this second place finish at a pro debut, I mean, we're going for the win in Palmetto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to bring all the
Yeah. Your stock's high. The physique speaks for itself. So, I mean, absolutely keep the foot on the pedal. 2022 competitive season's still young. So, especially for you men's physique guys, you guys have so many shows. I don't think people understand how many shows you have.
Yeah, there's a lot for us. I mean, you have shows where it's just like this one that just passed. It's literally just men's physique and women's bikini.
Yeah.
Like it's shows specifically for men's physique. So there's plenty of opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think that that's because there's just so many guys now that bodybuilding divisions have expanded so much that they can afford to do more shows for guys like us now, because there are so many of us now,
I did wonder. I've always wondered why, because I always remember seeing like the desert or the championship in the desert or something. It's like a Nevada show that just comes to my mind, but like it's just bikini. And I've always wondered when it comes to these types of shows where it's just physique, men's physique, and then maybe bikini or wellness, is it because they know they're going to get enough competitors there to, make it worth having a show? Like, I've always wondered like why they only have those divisions and not like open, 212, classic, and things of that nature.
Right. And I think that that's the case. I mean, I'm not in those rooms with those discussions personally, but I think that is the case because we had just in the open men's category, I believe there was 26, 27 guys.
Yeah.
So it was stacked, man. The Charlett Pro, from a numbers perspective, that was the biggest turnout for men's physique of the year up to that point.
Yeah.
26, 27 guys, that's dang near unheard of.
Mm-hmm. How many call outs is that? Like 5?
I believe so. It was around 4 or 5 call outs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. I mean, there was a lot of guys back there. And I mean, women was the same, and you saw it wasn't just open. They had men's over 35, men's over 40, men's over 50. So it was a good turnout for sure.
Okay. Yeah. What was your thought coming? I know you said you and your coach were talking a lot coming into your pro debut. What was your mindset coming into it, and what were some of your expectations?
Well, my mindset going into any show is always to win. I mean, I don't train for anything less. And if you're one of those guys, and no disrespect to anybody, but you're never going to hear me say, we're going to do all this work and then just step on stage and see what happens. That's never going to come out of my mouth. I'm gunning for the win every single time. So from an expectation standpoint, I expected excellence from myself that I would get top 3. There was never a single doubt in my mind at any point in this process that top 3 wasn't going to happen. And that's just simply because I know my physique. I know the work that we put in. I knew where we stood comparatively. So I felt that top 3 was most definitely going to happen. Now, did I express that to many people? No. But in my head, in my mind, in my heart, I knew. I was like, okay,
right.
Top 3 is kind of where I'm looking to be at.
Yeah. I mean, you let your actions speak for your words, and I mean, your placings, say it. So yeah, absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
So
it's all about.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, that was all I had. You good, dude?
Okay. I wanted to go back because we jumped right into bodybuilding, and I wanted to just get to know a little bit more about you. So you talked about weightlifting. You said you started like when you were 8.
Yeah, like 8 or 9 years old. I was young.
Yeah, that's really young. I don't even think I touched a barbell till I was probably like a freshman in high school. Playing football actually. In high
Mhm.
school, did you do? It was football, but I also saw some track stuff. Like, can you talk us through the sports you did in high school and then how that led into playing college ball?
Yeah, for sure. So in high school, I actually did wrestling, football, and track. I wrestled for my freshman and sophomore years. I wrestled varsity as a sophomore, so that was interesting. I did football all 4 years, of course, but I actually excelled in track, believe it or not. I really excelled in track. I ran track from seventh grade all the way till my junior year in college. And I just fell in love with track. I really did. My senior year, I qualified for state in all of my events. I ended up taking fourth in state in the 200, and what did we get? I believe sixth or seventh in state in the 4x2, but I was four-time all conference, four-time all state. I got a almost a full ride scholarship for track, actually, with the stipulation that I'd be able to play football in college.
Mm,
So I started out at a little Division II school near St. Louis called McKendree,
okay.
and I was actually first team all conference as a freshman and all region honorable mention as a freshman. So I've always excelled in track, but football was kind of where my heart was. So I didn't play as much as I would have liked to, barring whatever circumstances there were, injuries, whatever it is. But I actually went to a open tryout with an indoor team. They invited me out and they were like, "Hey, we see some potential in you and your film. So could you come
Mhm.
out and do a tryout for us?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come out there." I ended up running, I believe, a 4.3 40-yard dash.
Wow.
And I just exposed the linebackers during one-on-ones. I just pretty much ran it up. So they actually gave me a contract on the spot. Like, it wasn't a we had to go back and think about it. It was, hey, there's a table, here's a contract, you sign this type
Wow.
of deal. Yeah, so I signed with the indoor team called the Cedar Rapids River Kings.
Yep.
And I left school. I was in my master's program. I was getting my master's in political science. And I actually left the program. I was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I gotta get out of here for that.
Mhm.
So went to play indoor ball. It was a cool experience. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, more or less. It was very, very isolated. And I think that now more professional athletes will come out and say that it really is it's a job. It's not a camaraderie hanging with your boys like it is in college. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's not a we're all gonna get together and hang out and play video games after practice. It's not that. It's literally this is how I feed my family.
Mm.
So yeah, I didn't really like that aspect of it too much because my girlfriend and I had just had our son at the time, and I was away from him and away from them, and I was like, well, I'm really not feeling being away from my son, or my family. So after the first game, COVID kind of hit, and that shut everything down.
Yep. Oh, I
Every
know.
man. So everybody was sent home, of course, quarantine and all that, and I just took that time to do some real soul searching. And one of my buddies from college, his brother was a bodybuilder, and he just
Mm.
reached out to me and said, "Hey, I think that you could really compete in bodybuilding." And it was one of those things that was always sprinkled throughout my life. Like, "Hey, are you a bodybuilder?" Or, "Hey, you're a big guy,
Mm.
you should compete."
Right.
Like, it was little tidbits every now and again in life that just kind of set that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, "You know what? I really don't want to go back to playing ball. Let's compete." So he prepped me for my first show. And we just heard, the rest of that is history.
Yeah. I mean, that's such an awesome story. You look at some people's competitive history and they really have to like rise through the ranks, but
Mhm.
you came into that NPC Titan Open back in what, early 2021, and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, or 2020 actually, at the Chicago Pro actually, on the
Chicago
NPC
was the
side.
first. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And like you haven't placed outside two. You
No,
have not placed outside second place.
my lowest placing in my career, pro and amateur second.
Wow. That's I mean, for somebody who has, I can't even remember what the things are called, but like you're Eddie Lusk the third, so your son's Eddie Lusk the fourth.
Yep.
You know, it really, you're such a person focused on legacy, that's setting yourself up on the bodybuilding side to have like a very successful legacy within the IFBB now. So
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I want, to cement my name as one of the best as a rookie, for sure.
Absolutely. And you're, I mean, you're on course. First show, and you're going to keep the gas on the pedal for these next few shows. You said 4 weeks out?
Yes, 4 weeks and some change right now out from the Palmetto Pro.
Palmetto. Okay. Let's go back to when you were talking with your buddy, and you know, everyone said, hey, were you a bodybuilder when you were younger? And then, you know, coming up through age, what kind of training did you adopt before you came into that first pro show or NPC show? Yeah.
Before I really started bodybuilding, I mean, I've always done bodybuilding style workouts. You know, I was never really a fan of the power movements we would do in sports. You know, you have your heavy squats, your bench press, your hang cleans, things like that. Yep. Stuff that is optimal for sports and performance. Of course, that is needed. But for some reason, for me, I always gravitated towards stuff that gave me that physique, more or less, that, wow, you work out physique, the big shoulders, the big back, the chest. Like, I wanted the workout look, whereas sports, it's more optimized towards performance. And if you look at some professional athletes, you look at them and say, oh, you look like a regular guy. But they have that fast twitch muscle. They have that strength from doing those optimized movements. But I was doing more isolation work. I was doing dumbbell presses, shoulder presses, bicep curls, tricep extension, stuff that the other guys were not doing at the time. I was always doing the bodybuilding style movements. I think that what changed in the transition was just knowledge of working out, you know, because before you're just, even, you know, as in high school, you're just trying to throw up as much weight as you can.
Right.
You know, I really had to take a step back and go, okay, let's focus on the stretch, the contraction, the mind muscle connection. So for me, the muscle and the density was already there. I would say that we just had to form it into a competitive physique, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. You must have had some sort of physique, you know, being semi-pro in that indoor arena. So yeah, you already had the blueprint down, the foundation. Correct.
That's a great word.
Okay. For people that don't follow you as much, what would be so your philosophy on bodybuilding is, you're saying more like bodybuilding-esque movements, dumbbells, maybe some unilateral work. Are you more of like a volume guy, or are you more of like have you ever like really gotten into moving the big weights for, you know, heavy triples or anything like that?
I don't really touch heavy weight like that. I mean, okay, I guess, you know, from another person's perspective, the weight I use would be considered heavy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I focus more on, like I said, the mind muscle connection, slowing down the eccentric portion, exploding through the concentric, and squeezing at the top of the movement at all times. Because you want to get that blood flow, and you want to get that roundness, and you want to have shape. And that's exactly how you do that. Now, yeah, in the office, when I'm deep in the off season, I'll throw, you know, 450 on the bench and just hit it. But that's very, very rare.
Wow.
That's really, really rare. I'm more focused on, I enjoy that burn, that controlling of. I'm a big proponent of weight control. If you can't control the weight, I don't really care how strong you think you are. You're not doing it properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you said you were 27?
I'm sorry?
How old did you say you were?
27.
27. Okay. That's what I thought you said. Do you think kind of staying away from the ego lifting and, you know, moving those heavy triples and PR singles, do you think that's kind of led to like having healthy joints and, you know, no crazy issues and injuries since you started bodybuilding?
I definitely think so, for sure, because when I was playing football, that's all we ever did was heavy weight for triples and doubles and singles. And when I was playing ball, that was the time when my body was aching the most. I'm talking my lower back was hurting. I had elbow pain, tendonitis all the time, tennis elbow. I tore my hamstring. Like, I felt like I was falling apart.
Yep.
But it's crazy now that I've taken that load off and I'm focusing more on volume, I'm doing more work immensely in the gym now than I was doing in football, but I feel the best I've ever felt. So I definitely agree. Yes, taking that load off is definitely a plus.
I might have to do that to myself. I think we're the same. I was talking with my wife the other day. I'm like, I don't actually know how old I am. I was joking with her. I was like, I think I'm 28, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah, at some point it's like,
yeah, but I need to do something like that. I need to stop going after the big weight because like I'm just so broken. I can barely walk anymore. So for the people listening, take it from the pro, not from the bro, and take care of yourself. Do you do a lot of like deep tissue massage work and Theragun work, stuff like that?
I actually don't, believe it or not. I don't. No, I've never had a massage in my life. Actually, never done any type of chiropractic, nothing. But I do. Yeah. I know a lot of the benefits of it, and that is something I am going to start getting into because I do need to start taking my recovery a little bit more seriously. As when you're young and in your 20s, you can kind of get away with it a little bit. But I know as I get older and the grind continues to go, that's something that I need to invest in for sure.
Okay. Do you do any like type of stretching mobility work? Like what does your warm-up routine look like for, say, a chest day?
So for me, I'll always start out with some sort of rotator cuff warm-up. I always warm up my rotator cuffs because I've had shoulder problems in the past. Yeah. So I always do some sort of shoulder warm-up anytime I do any form of upper body, whether it's chest, back, whatever. I always warm my shoulders up first. Then getting into the movement, I've always been a big proponent of warming up with the movement itself.
Right.
So say, for example, I'm going to do, I don't know, dumbbell bench press. I'll start with the 40, do maybe 12, 15 reps, nice, slow, feeling the squeeze. I'll bump it up to maybe 60 or 70, do the same thing, and then grab the hundreds, do the same thing, and then get into my working set with the heavier weight.
Yes.
Now, as I go through my workout, the number of warm-up sets kind of tapers off because I'm already pretty warm.
Right. Yeah. The groove has been greased.
Yeah, exactly. But on any day and any movement, I always warm up with the movement itself.
Okay. Do you do any for your rotator cuff warm-ups? Do you do any band movements, or is it mostly just kind of like with the dumbbells and stuff?
Yeah, it's mostly more or less with the dumbbells. I just grab a 10-pound plate. I'll do 15 slow reps of dumbbell lateral raise, dumbbell front raise, some of these things like that, just to warm it up a little bit, get the blood flowing into it, but nothing crazy. No, it's not going to take me more than 5 minutes.
Wow, that's impressive. That speaks to your healthiness of your joints.
Yeah, sure.
I can't say the same about myself. I take a while.
Hey, it happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Man, so you talked briefly about I think you said you dropped out of the Masters to go into playing for the Cedar Rapids River Kings. Yes. But you did graduate from Illinois with a degree in sociology?
Yes, I graduated in 2018 with a degree in sociology, yes.
Okay. What's your plan with that or anything like that?
I mean, really, I only got into it because originally going into college, I was on the criminal justice track. I really liked the whole legal aspect. That was something that I really be interested in. But then I transferred from McKendree, where they had that criminal justice emphasis, to Eastern Illinois, who actually didn't have that. So I just kind of stayed on that sociology track. And the more I stayed on it, the more I enjoyed it. And it kind of reflected the way that I already thought about society as a whole. I don't necessarily look at situations or environments from within. I like to look at things from an above perspective.
Okay.
To get the whole picture. And that's kind of how sociology works. It's understanding cliques and groups and how they connect within the gears of society.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that very, very interesting. So realistically, as most college kids do, I didn't really have a plan to do with it.
Yeah.
I was just getting the degree and I was like, well, cool, you know?
Yeah. That's something you can tell your kids, like, hey, I got the paper.
Yeah, I was literally, I got the paper.
I guess. Yeah. That's yeah, that's how that's how I look at it with the military, is like, you can't commission into the officer corps until you have that piece of paper. Now they don't care what the piece of paper is, because you could have a sociology degree and then they're going to make you an engineer or something like crazy. And it's like, what's the point? You know, what's the point?
Right. It's ridiculous. What are we doing? Exactly. I mean, it's all about understanding the bigger picture sometimes. Like, sometimes we're so consumed with what's happening right in front of our face that we forget that life is more than the next 3 days, you know?
Yeah. Especially people live like paycheck to paycheck. You really get stuck in that grind where you can't see past that next Friday.
Exactly. And I mean, I know that's a struggle that, you know, most Americans unfortunately go through, but there are ways to leverage it. You know, there's risks you have to take and sacrifices you have to make to get anything out of life. So I think if you can make those calculated risks and take those calculated chances, that anybody can be successful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your main source of income right now? Do you do coaching or what do you do?
So right now I do a lot of online coaching. I have a lot of online remote clients. Like, that is actually a good source of money for me. And I'm also a personal trainer at a commercial gym as well. So I've got 2 sources of income, plus, you know, the prize money that I'm winning shows and all that. So financially, I'm doing well.
Good. That's good to hear.
Not to get too deep in the numbers.
No, you're good. You're good. I was talking with my wife the other day, and she told me how much she puts in her savings every month, and I was baffled, because like I had no idea, because like all my bills go to paying bills and, you know, making sure everything's covered. She told me a number, and I was like, oh my God.
It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Where are you located out of?
I'm out here in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, more in Alpharetta, which is about 20 minutes north of Atlanta. So I'm in a very, very nice community. I mean, Atlanta is the fastest growing city in the nation right now. So opportunities are popping up left and right for everybody, which is actually the reason why I brought myself and my family down here, was for all those plethora of opportunities. I actually moved here with my mom, dad, and brother and sister. My dad had a new job opportunity down here my freshman year in college. So that's when we moved here. And just being around the people and seeing the different, it's more of an entrepreneurial financial mindset here.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's just, it changes your outlook on some things. You know what I mean?
Association is everything.
Exactly. And it's a community that I want my son to grow up in, and one that my girlfriend and I weren't exposed to growing up. So it's great to see it now and to have him growing up in this sort of environment.
I love you touching on that entrepreneurial mindset. Some people might not think about it, but like making YouTube videos is a very valid way of generating income. I've noticed that you have a YouTube. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I have a YouTube. It's called Infinite Gains. I haven't posted on it in a while, to be honest, because my time is kind of constrained. But now that I am taking this route, you know, I do plan on dedicating myself more to just social media in general, which I have been doing with my Instagram, posting more content for everybody, and my following has been going up consistently. I want to say in the last 3 weeks, I've gained about maybe 500 followers.
Wow.
By the end of the month, I'll easily be over 10K. And that's really what I want. That was a goal of mine. By the end of April, be over 10K, and to just keep moving and climbing and, you know, getting back into YouTube, just having more sources of income, number one, and number two, just pumping out more content for my supporters and my followers and my fans, so people can really see, like, who is this guy, Eddie Lusk, you know, giving them that behind closed doors access, you know?
Right. I think a lot of people crave that that personal connection with those athletes. So I'm happy to hear that you're going to be doubling down on that media content. People really do appreciate when athletes take that extra step. I mean, look at Nick Walker's channel. Like he's grown exponentially since he, brought on his brother to be the media guy and the different brands he's lined up with. So
yeah, guys like him, Brett Wilkins. I mean, we can all say Chris Bumstead. I mean, he's really the one who kind of started that. So
yeah. He's the poster child for community engagement. Building that like cult mentality or community.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that.
That's crazy. For let's see, anything else? I want to make sure we covered all your sponsors or your affiliates. And we talked about you're planning on doing the Palmetto Pro.
Yes, the Palmetto Pro. It's put on by Kevin DeHaven, like KD Productions. About 4 weeks and some days out in that right now. So
okay. Okay, and eatcleanbro, is that your meal prep service?
Yeah, eatcleanbro is my meal prep service. They prep and deliver all my meals to me every month. My code for them, if anybody wants to get some good stuff, it's EDDIELUSKIII, which is literally my name. So it should be.
Yep. But, and all that'll be in the description of the video, guys. So just make sure you guys scroll down.
Yes. So eatcleanbro, they're based right here out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're really, really awesome. I mean, you're talking about good, clean, healthy food portioned out properly. It's already cooked when you get it. And it's not just a la carte stuff like turkey and chicken. They have actual meals like spaghetti and meatballs, Gouda burgers. They have vegan, vegetarian options. I mean, eatcleanbro is the real deal. And I'm happy. I am definitely happy to be affiliated with them for sure.
Yeah. When you're kind of in your prep and your dieting, do you think like the way that eatcleanbro offers that, that wide variety of different meals, do you think that really helps you stay on course?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, it's just to keep it simple. It's one less thing that I have to worry about. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about, is there turkey in the fridge? Is there chicken in the fridge? Oh, can I get some? Like, it's there. And even their delivery service is so fast. Like if I know I'm going to run out of ground beef in 2 days, I can have them literally deliver it in 2 days. Like you can select what day you want to have it delivered and everything. So it's so convenient. The food is good. They're all just really wonderful, nice people. They're a great company. So I have nothing bad to say about them at all.
Outstanding. All right. Last one, I guess the only controversial question I'll ask you. It's been mentioned several times that some people think men's physique is getting too big. What are your thoughts on that?
Realistically, I can see it. I mean, I'm a bigger guy in men's physique myself. I mean, I was on stage at 206 pounds. Like, I'm a bigger guy for men's physique. But do I think that it's getting too big? I think it's starting to taper down more just a little bit now. I think that if we look at the shows that have gone by and look at the placings, they're not awarding just guys that are big for no reason. I mean, look at Yogi Montenegro. He's on stage probably soaking wet at a $175. I mean, the guy is not big. Look at Aaron Banks. He's a bigger guy weight-wise, but you also have to consider he's 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he's got to be up there, yeah.
He's a tall guy, but if you look at him, he's aesthetic. He's not just a big. He's got the nice shoulders, small waist, the big chest. So I think the way the judging has been going, just based off that, they're starting to transition back to that, I'll say 2018, 2017, 2019 look, where the guys were still big, but we're not hulking 230 walking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're still big guys. I don't think it's ever going to get back to the 2013, 2014 Beachbody look.
No.
I mean, for the sport and the division to progress, the guys are still going to have to get bigger. I mean, there's no way that we can lift weights and not get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the simplest way I can put it for anybody who's had that controversial thought. You have to think there's no way that we can lift weights and not get bigger.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. Because I could never imagine going into the gym with the mindset of just sustaining. Like I don't even know how you build a training plan to where you're only trying to stay at the same weight. You're not trying to get bigger. Like it doesn't make sense. Like bodybuilding is building your body, so you should be constantly improving.
Exactly. I mean, there's ways you can go about it to where you're like Brandon Hendrickson, 3-time Mr. Olympia, for example. I've heard him say many times that he's not trying to get any bigger, but he is trying to isolate and bring up certain body parts. So I know he's talked about growing his lower lats. He's talked about growing his chest, growing his shoulders. So he's specifically training to grow those body parts, but not grow overall.
Right.
You know, so I think at a certain degree, you have to have that differential. Like you're not trying to put on 10 pounds of muscle in the off season anymore. You're trying to improve your weak points. So your mindset has to shift a little bit, you know?
Yeah. That's such a healthy way to look at bodybuilding, where you're not just trying to make some freaky 305-pound physique update where it's like, you don't even know if they've made any progress. They're just heavy. So men's physique has a good, healthy way of looking at bodybuilding as a whole. Right.
And I mean, you see a lot of guys in men's physique now, which I think is good. They feel like they're too big, or the judges say they're too big, and they just switch to classic. I mean, look, I don't know if you've heard of Tony Duong before, but he's a guy that transitioned from men's physique. He was just too big, and he just qualified for the Olympia in classic.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and you have guys like,
was that Golden State, right?
Yeah, Golden State. I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I covered that one.
Logan Franklin, he did the same thing.
Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, I mean, like I forgot about his transition, but yeah.
His was a little bit not as recent, but and you had a Sadiq. He's a throwback guy. He's coming back, but he did the same thing.
Yeah, so, we just talked about him on the last video or 2 videos ago. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, you're starting to see it more and more often. So I think that there's a good balance right now. Bodybuilding as a whole is growing in popularity, so I think we're going in a good direction.
Yeah. I can't think of the guy off the top of my head, but he did the I'm trying to like grasp for right now. He did the Fit World. Let me see if I can pull it up. He did the Fit World as men's physique. Jeremy Dutra. He did men's physique in the Fit World, and then hopped into the San Diego that Tony did and won and placed 3rd.
Yes, in classic. Yeah.
So,
and that's just a prime example. Like some guys do step on stage too big, but you know, the beauty of having judges is we can get that feedback, you know, and see where we can come from with that. There's another guy, he goes by 2-Ton Tommy on Instagram, and he did the same. He wasn't placing very well in men's physique, and then his first year in classic, he qualified for the Olympia.
Yep.
So it's definitely possible that you make that transition for sure.
Speaking of judges' feedback, let's finish with this. What is your number one focus on improvements coming into the Palmetto Pro in 4-ish weeks?
For me, more or less, it's just the judges' feedback for me was just better ab control in my transitions. Yeah, it's something that I wasn't expecting to hear, to be honest with you. But
yeah, it's good to hear, though.
It's really, really key. He told me that I was solid everywhere else, but of course, there's always room for improvement. But you know, me and Ben Keel were going neck and neck the whole show. Box, like it was just boom, 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 and he said the deciding factor was really just kind of the ab control, how I would kind of relax a little bit going through my transitions. But you know, at the pro level, everybody's good. Everybody's solid. Everybody has a nice physique. So what's going to separate that 1 and 2 spot is oftentimes going to be those small things. You know,
the things you don't think judges are looking for.
Exactly.
Like transitions.
Right. And that's, you know, something we have to work on for sure. And I also want to take the time of being in a little bit of caloric surplus to bring up my upper shelf a little bit. I think we can come in with the fuller, me and my coach, you know, discussed that we can come in with a much fuller chest, you know, and a little bit more density in the back for sure. And I think all of that coupled together, I think is going to bring a really good package to Palmetto. And then more conditioned, of course. I mean, you can never be too conditioned. And it being my first show of the year, you know, and me and my coach, I had a little bit more room. I had a little bit of room to come in more conditioned for sure.
Okay. So
I think we put those things together. We're going to do something crazy.
Yeah. All right. So you have a good plan for Palmetto, and then Miami, I think you said just a week after that?
Yes, the Miami Muscle Beach Pro the next weekend.
Outstanding. All right, Eddie. I appreciate you making time as you're in the car. If there's anything else you want to put out, I think we covered all your sponsors.
Yeah, I think we're good. And just giving glory to God. Of course, without Him, none of this is possible. And just always have faith and have a belief system. You know what I mean? Have good supporters. I've got a great supporting cast in my family. My girlfriend and my son, they've really done fantastic jobs of keeping me grounded, and she's doing a great job of making sure that everything is in place and that I don't have to worry about too much. Just lift heavy weights and get better.
Absolutely. Surround yourself with amazing association, build a legacy that you're going to be proud of, and just staying focused and staying healthy.
For sure. Because as lonely as bodybuilding is, and as much as it is just you, we all have to be honest with ourselves at some point and say we couldn't do it without the people around us. So,
Yep. Your fans, your supporters, everything.
Everything, man.
Absolutely. All right, Eddie. Appreciate you again. Hopefully we can have you on maybe after the Palmetto Pro as the new Olympia qualification.
I already know. You already on the same page, man.
Yeah. Speak it into existence.
That's it.
All right, Eddie. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping in. I know you guys really appreciate and enjoy these longer format interviews. So hopefully everybody, James, Jennifer, all you guys that love doing these videos for your cardio, hopefully you enjoy this video. But as always, I'm Saunch, and this is Mr. Eddie Lusk, men's classic physique, future Olympian. Subscribe, check out all of his sponsor stuff in the description of the video, and we'll see you guys in another video. All right, man.